Hey everybody, Toby Smith. I'm here with the next big thing, and we're going to continue our conversation with Colin Tay and George Alvarez, the founders of Chinatel Group. All right, if you haven't been following this drama here, we know that Chinatel is now expanding beyond just China and Peru. They're now going to be a worldwide carrier. We'll get to that a little bit later. We know that they're the 4G network. If I was going to rename Chinatel, I would call it 4G Chinatel, because everything they're deploying is fourth generation. This is the good stuff. This is the high-speed stuff. In the United States, all we see is ads about 4G. But we have to understand, in the rest of the place, of the world, 4G is barely there. And in China, their plan for 4G starts in about 5 years. So they are significantly ahead of the curve. But let's go back to the last one we talked about, which is pads. George, you guys have a big plan for pads. You think the pad is the way most people are going to want to consume data in China. Why?
I think if you look at the news today, the iPad 2 was recently announced, and it's 8 to 12 hours wait to purchase. So we definitely designed the network over 2 years ago to deliver data, and the world's now catching up to exactly what that means. Our pads are very specific. They have characteristics that are attractive, both with cameras and the functions that people expect. But what you mentioned earlier, it's all about the pad, and the distribution of that pad on our network is the primary source of revenue for us.
So when you're going to sell a pad in China, it's obviously going to be on the Android Honeycomb on their 4G upgraded system. What do you think they're going to cost, and what am I going to get? I mean, what sexy stuff am I getting?
Oh, you'll have cameras. You'll have the applications you're accustomed to. You'll have social networking capabilities. You'll have video distribution capabilities. You can watch internet TV or movies. Live conference calling. The basic functions that you're accustomed to in the modern pads.
And what speed typically am I going to be getting for my 8 to 12 bucks a month? How much bandwidth speed?
About 5G up, about 3 down.
And
that's versus conservative.
Yeah, and then versus 3G, which is about 1.5. And about 500K down, right? I mean, in China, every time I check the speed I'm getting, I'm always amazed how slow it is.
Yeah, I mean, real speed is probably 500 for them, and 1 like you described. But this is a different network. The entire network is data, and these higher speeds are part of par for the course. That's what you get when you deploy these types of networks.
So when I buy a pad, I can only get the data to my pad. But if I buy one of your customer premise, your CPE product, how much is that going to cost, and how many people can use that, essentially that antenna inside my house or office?
That's about $100, and you'll have one IP address focused on that CPE, with up to 8 users per CPE. The pad is a single user solution, so that's $8 to $12 ARPU model. The CPE is up to 8 users in that home environment or office environment, for that sake.
In my home, I'm still going to be paying the $8 to $12 a month, but I could be sharing that with 8 people?
8 people or 8 devices.
8 devices? 8
devices, yes.
All right, so if I have a BlackBerry, or I have iPhone or whatever, as long as it has a SIM card, will I be able to get a Wi-Fi signal from my thing at home, from my antenna at home?
That's one of the companies that we're currently under LOI to acquire, is a SIM overlay where you can use your existing devices. You overlay a little piece of Scotch tape on an existing SIM card, which will give you 2 numbers or 2 access points, our network being one of those, which will also be able to let that user roam worldwide. But the focus on us is not just that SIM, but the experience of the end user to have multiple devices. We think TVs in the home and other types of devices will also be part of this future protocol.
Do the speeds, if I have a signal coming into my antenna at my home or my office, and now I have 8 people on all that. Some guy's on their pad, somebody's on a laptop, somebody's on their desktop. Do the speeds go down?
Well, it depends. If you're on Wi-Fi, that's a router, so those 8 devices, almost all devices have a Wi-Fi connectivity. So you have a Wi-Fi to WiMAX or a WiMAX to Wi-Fi. So on Wi-Fi, your speeds are going to be a little slower. So if you're connecting to that CPE via Wi-Fi, your speeds are going to reflect that technology. If you're connecting directly to the WiMAX network, then the speeds will be higher.
All right, so Colin, tell me quickly about this overlay technology. I know you're all geeked up about it, but how will I do it? I'll buy it for what, like $10? I get an activation charge, and then I put this over my SIM. What do I get for my $10?
Well, for the $10, is to activate that overlay, that SIM overlay, that would enable our subscriber for a certain territory to roam outside that territory, or even to go on an international worldwide roaming with very competitive charges. I would say in the region of about a quarter of what most current incumbent carriers are charging for international roaming.
So if I'm getting hit with $5 a minute on roaming, as I was recently in Rome, I could get it for $1?
Indeed.
Now, I would assume then if I have a China Mobile phone and a China Mobile SIM, and I put your overlay on it, then that person sort of becomes your customer, right? As long as they're using that second number?
Indeed.
Absolutely.
So now if you capture that number, can you send a message to that China Mobile customer and say, hey, dude, how much are you spending for your data plan? In other words, can you market to these people?
Yes, we can. In fact, the individual subscriber has a choice to switch between the numbers that they want to use. So if you're in the home market and you have a fixed monthly subscription plan with your current incumbent carrier, it makes sense to use your incumbent carrier because there's endless usage.
Sure.
However, if you travel for long distance or out of that territory or for international, then you can have choice to change it to the other numbers, to switch it to the other numbers for your data or voice calls. And that will save you tremendous amount of money.
Okay, and so whether I'm using a pad or a notebook, whatever, tell me about the MiFi card. If I buy one of these hotspots, these portable hotspots, will it work the same way? I pay the $8 to $12 a month, and then I can connect 8 devices to my hotspot, my portable hotspot?
8 devices to 1 IP address. It's a great solution, very nice speeds. And you're actually a walking hotspot as you conduct your business.
Yeah, I've been accused of being a walking hotspot, but that's a whole different issue. All right, look, we're going to go to our next segment, but the key with Chinatel now is the technology for 4G has caught up. They will have the only 4G network in China. By the way, the 4G networks in China officially start in about 2014, 2015, so they have a gigantic head start. They have a big head start in Peru, and I gather in these other international markets, you're also going to have a head start. So you really need to think about Chinatel Group as the 4G network that's 100% data, 100% 4G in growing countries with a massively competitive or superior product, service, etc. And then we'll get talking in the next segment about how you're going to take that basic plan and how those revenues build from there. Guys, this is the next big thing. And trust me, the next big thing in Peru and in China and in Central Europe is 4G.